Hello and welcome to SBC Chat. I'm very excited to introduce Meryl, who we'll be interviewing today. Have a listen, some great stuff in there, and it's personally, it was just great to speak to her. God bless. Hello, Meryl. Lovely to meet you online. For those people that don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself, where you live, who you're living with, and what you sort of do day to day, if that's okay?
Yes, well, as Martin said, my name is Meryl Sweeting. I moved down from Knutsford in Cheshire in 2003, and that's when I started going to SBC. I live in Warlingham. I live on my own because my husband actually died nearly 40 years ago when he was 43, leaving me with 3 children. So now they're grown up, and I have got Christian, who's 51, Tim, who's 49, and Julian is 46. And what else do you need to know?
No, that's cool. You reminded me of every time that it gets to my birthday, my mum gets a little bit sadder when she's sort of going, oh, I'm mother of a 38-year-old. And
it is a bit daunting. When they hit 50, it's even more worrying.
So we've been in lockdown for a very long time. We've got a bit more freedom, which is exciting. But have you had any strange experiences? Anything that you've done that you thought, well, this isn't the normal I'm used to?
Well, I mean, the whole time is very odd, isn't it? It's very unusual because I get up in the morning and I think, what day is it? You know, no point in looking in my diary because there isn't anything. No, it's just a very unusual time, and I miss everybody because I love chatting to people and seeing people. So, but I'm doing okay.
How's your experience of it been?
It's very different because I'm usually out a lot, and I love visiting people. I miss very much seeing people. I used to go and see Barbara and Bernard Miles because I can't do that anymore, and lots of other people. And I miss coffee in the garden centres with my neighbours and my friends. So it is very different because I can't see my family that I usually see a lot. And I've got much time to my own. I find it quite a selfish time really because I get up and there's not a lot I can do. I eat lots of chocolate and I walk an hour every day, so it's not having too much effect. Okay. But it's just very different, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The lockdown has sort of changed. We are allowed to go and see somebody individually, but once we're fully free and we're back to how it used to be, what are you most excited about doing? What are you sort of itching to go and do?
Well, Sainsbury's shopping in Sainsbury's would be quite unusual. I mean, I've sort of missed that. I never thought I'd miss Sainsbury's. Seeing the family, and I've got family in Holland, in the Netherlands. So I'm thinking about when am I going to be able to see them. Yes, just going out and about, and maybe going to the hairdressers, as most people will feel.
Yeah, yeah, unless you've been like me and had to do a DIY job, I think.
Yes, well, I hope mine won't be as short as that when it's done.
I'm sure it won't. I'm sure it won't.
But seeing family, I guess, and meeting up with everybody. I miss the church family so much.
Yeah.
You know, I speak to them and I see them on Teams and goodness knows what, but there's nothing like talking face to face, is there?
No.
And Joe actually came yesterday and sat in my garden because my garden's in a park, so I'm okay. I'm very blessed. So we sat and had coffee. Actually, it wasn't a very warm day like today, and we sat, had coffee, chatted, and froze. But it was lovely.
Yeah, yeah. How have you seen, sort of going off that kind of people, Christians in lockdown, how have you experienced God? Where have you seen God in these last couple of weeks?
Well, I've been a Christian since I was 8, and to me, it's still just as exciting as when I first got to know him. And so he's with me every minute of every day, and it's wonderful that I can talk to him at any time. And because I lost my husband, I probably became dependent on him so much when the children were young, and it's taught me a lot, and he means everything to me. So in lockdown, I did buy some, I know this will come up back to front to you, but I did get some little booklets called Daily Strength from the Scripture Gift Mission, which are free, but if you can give a gift, that's lovely. Well, I went round Easter Sunday morning, dropping one through about 75 letterboxes, my sort of immediate neighbours. I actually got 150, but I didn't make it because I hadn't got enough envelopes. And I've made little cards to go in with the booklet saying that I'm so missing going to church on Easter Sunday morning. I was thinking of something I could do to celebrate. So, and I said that in the little card I made on my computer. So I dropped that to all these people. And I've had lovely comeback, we have a police lady who's on the estate, and she said to me, it's the first time I've actually had time to sit and ponder what was in that booklet. And it's lovely because it's modern English.
Yeah.
And also I've got to know another family that I didn't know where I lived before. And their children dropped me in little pictures. And the last few Sundays they've sent me a little drawing with a painting. In fact, I've got one here of George and the Dragon.
Oh, cool.
And on the back it says, I'm sorry, Meryl, you can't go to church today. And so I wrote them a little letter and took it round just to thank the children. They're 4 and 6.
Yeah.
And I said, it was a children's letter with a teddy on it, is it, for a child. And the mum happened to open the window as I was putting it through the letterbox, and she said to me, are you Meryl? And I said, oh, yes. So she came out at a distance, so we had a nice chat. So I think we'll meet up for coffee when this is over. So, and I'm talking to a friend who's very recent Christian, and everything has gone wrong for her. And the Lord is helping her, and I'm trying to help her, obviously. But the Lord is working amazingly, I think. He's still alive and here and doing things. And I'm excited that I belong to him.
That is cool. That's really good. Thank you, Meryl. So has there been a kind of Bible verse that sort of you've hung on to this last couple of months, or one that you just always go to?
There's loads of verses, but the one that I love, and I've got it in front of me here, so I'll read it. It's in Living Light, which I know is a paraphrase, just in case you point out that it's not actual translation.
Don't worry.
But it says, let us strip off anything that slows us down or holds us back. Run with patience the particular race that God has set before us. Keep your eyes on Jesus, our leader and our instructor. And it's that. And I think Denzel did speak right at the beginning of lockdown. He spoke about Peter, didn't he, walking on the water?
Yeah. And
how Peter took his eyes off Jesus and started floundering. And I think if we take our eyes off the Lord, then we start to flounder. If we look around us as what's going on, we can worry about it all. But if we need to keep our eyes on Jesus, and every morning, I don't know whether you could play this, I listen to Hillsong, and there's a girl that sings, they sing, turn your eyes upon Jesus. And I listen to that when I get up first thing in the morning, and it focuses me, and it's just a lovely song, and I join in with it, and I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And sort of prayer-wise, as a church, we like to pray for each other. Is there any prayer requests that you have, or people that you know of, that we could all pray for their situation? Or
so I think there's a lot of people, and I'm connected with 1 or 2 people who are having really mental problems at this time, and I think they find it so difficult to be shut in or not to meet with people. And I think I'd love to pray for everybody in our church that's struggling in that way, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, and is there anything else that you'd like to share with us at all, Meryl?
There's just one thing perhaps I could mention. Julian, my youngest son, he was 8 when he lost his dad, and obviously it affected the children. It was a traumatic time. We were a Christian family. My husband was very keen Christian, and he grew up into quite an angry teenager, and it was quite difficult for me as a single mum. And when because he was bigger than me when he was 17, and he got addicted to fruit machines, and he got into a lot of difficulty. He actually climbed up into the Christmas tree in Knutsford in Christmas in the square and took out all the light bulbs. And the police the police were waiting at the bottom when he came down. And he didn't end up in the cells, but he could have done. But so he was a real rebel, but he was angry. I think he didn't know how to deal with everything. And then he went to a Scripture Union activity holiday, which he'd done the previous probably 2 or 3 years, and got to know other teenagers. And Clive, who was leading it at that time, phoned me and said, would Julian like to go onto this activity camp? This was when he was about 17. And as Julian was off to school, I said to him, do you want to go? And he said, yes, because I booked him in quickly. Well, he went to it and he came back a totally different boy. He said that he was in front, he knelt with Clive, not knelt, they sat on the green where they were in this holiday place. And he poured out to God all that had been going on, shared it, that he'd had probably bottled up inside him to God, and God healed him. And it makes me tearful almost to think of it. But he came back a totally different, transformed boy. And that was an absolute miracle. And perhaps that's partly why I just love God so much for all he's done.
It's amazing. And
Julian now is a very keen Christian, married to a Christian, and they live in Holland, are involved there. So, and my other children are Christians. God has been so faithful. He always keeps his promises, and I love him.
That's cool. Thank you, Meryl. It's amazing. Yeah, he's not a God that's far off and distant. He's a God that's
absolutely not. And the more we trust him, the more he can do for us, I think.
Okay, Meryl, it's been an absolute pleasure to chat with you, and I can't wait to see you face to face, and I'm sure the rest of the church are exactly the same.
It's a real joy, Martin, to see you. And I'm really looking forward to seeing everyone too. So thank the Lord that he's with us until we meet. Thank you.
Turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look for in his wonderful and the future will grow strangely in